Now in this video, I'm going to introduce you one kind of attack which can happen in the LAN. We call it as MAC flooding attack. We'll try to understand how the MAC flooding attacks can be done. And then we'll try to understand what is the solution for that. Now the solution is port security. How port security is going to prevent the MAC flooding attack. So first let's try to understand what is MAC flooding attack. So MAC flooding attack is a method where an attacker is going to try to send some numerable invalid source MAC addresses, and it's going to flood the MAC table with those invalid source MAC addresses. So let's try to understand how it works generally. Now take an example. I got a switch here in the LAN and all the users are connecting in the LAN here. Now there is also an attacker sitting here. So let's say there is an attacker who is also my internal user in the LAN. Okay. Now, if you remember in the basic switching concepts, we have learned the switches are more intelligent devices because they can store a table called CAM table or MAC table, which is going to have an information on what port number, what is the MAC address connected. Now, each and every port is having some MAC address information, and by default for the first time, maybe the MAC table will be empty, but initially it will do broadcast, and then based on that, it is going to update the MAC table as a unicast. Based on that, it will update the MAC table, and then let's say there is a user connecting here 1.1, try to communicate with 192.168.1.4 somewhere here, and the MAC address of this is AA and the MAC address is AD, let's say. Now whenever a switch receives a packet on a particular port, it's going to see the destination MAC address, and if there is an entry, it is going to forward it as a unicast, and if there's no entry, it is going to simply broadcast the particular frame. Now this is something what switches will do, the default behavior, but switches are intelligent devices which can forward a packet based on the unicast, based on the entries, whatever in the MAC table. But now what attacker can do is, now attacker is going to sit here in the LAN and is going to flood with some numerable invalid MAC addresses. Now this can be done by running some of the basic tools. Let's take an example. The attacker is sending some numerable invalid request on the particular port, let's say port number 10, and every time he's sending a message or a broadcast, he's going to change his MAC addresses. Like he's going to send XY, XX, something like this. So XZ, something different MAC addresses. Now whenever a switch is going to receive any new MAC address, it's going to try to see whether that particular entry is present in the MAC table or not. If that particular entry is not present in the MAC table, it's try to update the MAC table. Now the attacker is going to send some numerable invalid MAC addresses, so which means now your MAC table will get filled with some numerable invalid MAC addresses, and once it reaches the limit, it's going to start removing the valid MAC addresses. Now what it is going to do, it's going to remove all your valid MAC addresses, valid source MAC addresses. It's going to remove, because whenever any new entry adds, it's going to automatically remove the previous entries if it reaches the limit. Now in this scenario, if a valid user 1.1 want to communicate 1.4, let's say the MAC address is AA and the MAC address is AD. Now your packet reaches the switch. Now switch is going to see the CAM table. In that particular CAM table, there is no entry for the destination MAC address, and now the switches, whenever there is no entry for the destination MAC address, it's going to simply send a broadcast or a flood throughout the network. Now every time any valid user wants to communicate with any other user in the LAN, it's going to simply flood that in the network. Now that's something what switches will do. Now you can see this kind of attack we call as MAC table overflow attack or MAC flooding attack. MAC flooding, or we can also say MAC table overflow attack, where the attacker is going to send some numerable invalid MAC addresses, and your CAM table will be filled with all your invalid MAC addresses, where the valid users are not going to make an entry, and they are going to work based on the broadcast. Now typically switches will do unicast, but now it's going to work like a hub, where each and every packet coming from a valid user, it will be broadcasted to all the ports automatically. Now we call this as MAC flooding attack. Like here you can see the summary of MAC flooding attack. Attacker is going to flood the CAM table with the numerable invalid source MAC addresses, and where the valid host cannot create an entries in the MAC table. So in simple, there is no entry for your valid MAC addresses. Now if a valid user tries to communicate with another valid user in the LAN, the normal traffic will be flooded out of all the ports because there is no CAM entries for the valid users. Now we call this as MAC flooding attack. Now how to overcome this MAC flooding attack? That's the next thing. Now to overcome from this MAC flooding attack, we can implement a feature on the switches. We call it as port security feature. Now in this port security feature, what we are going to do is we are going to restrict any particular port. We are going to limit the number of MAC addresses it can learn. Now let's say I'm going to limit the MAC address of maximum of 3. So which means if a user is sending with a MAC address, let's say an attacker is trying to flood with a MAC address of AA, maybe it's a valid user, it's going to accept. If he's sending with another MAC address AB, it's going to accept. And then he's sending with a MAC address of AC, is going to accept. Because the maximum entries, we have defined something called 3. So which means maximum of 3 MAC addresses can be learned on one particular port. And this number can be changed as per our requirement. But we are going to use this as something called 3. And whenever a switcher learns the MAC address with AD, something, the 4th MAC address. So once it receives the 4th MAC address, automatically it is going to put the port into a shutdown state. More like an error shutdown, error disable state we call it as. And this port will not be able to access any of the resources because it has a violation rule. And the default violation rule, what we are going to do is we are going to say shut down the port. Now this is something what we can do in a case of port security. Now in the port security, what we are going to do is we are going to limit the number of MAC addresses can be learned on a specific port. If anyone violates that rule, if it learns more than the number of MAC addresses what we define, it's going to simply put the port into error disable state. Now to configure this port security, what we can do is, now you can see the commands here. Now if you want to implement port security on port number 1, or we can define the range of ports, I can simply go to interface range F0 by 1 to F0 by 10, and we can define a port can be an access port or it can be a trunk port. Now the port security feature is not going to work if your port is in a dynamic desirable or dynamic auto modes. And mostly on the switches, the port will be in the dynamic desirable or auto modes. Auto is something what default mode. Port security is not going to work. So we need to ensure that that particular port, either it should be an access port or it should be a trunk port. Okay, so we can define the maximum number of MAC addresses. Like in my example, I'm going to define a maximum of 3 MAC addresses can be learned on this particular ports. Now this command switch port security is going to enable the feature port security on that particular port. And in the next command, we are going to define the maximum number of MAC addresses can be learned on that particular port. And then the last thing, this command is optional, not compulsory. Like if it reaches the maximum limit. So I'm going to define 3 MAC addresses. If it learns the 4th MAC address, what is the violation? What is the port security violation we need to configure? Like the default is shutdown. It's going to put the port into error disable state, which means it will automatically goes into more like a shutdown state. And this port will only come back if you configure any specific port. We need to shut down, and we have to do no shutdown command. Okay, so we have to shut down and no shutdown. That's only one way you can make this interface back to up. In fact, you can also use some error disable recovery options, but we generally go with this one. Now there are some other options we can use, like we can say protect and restrict options. Now there is a slight difference between the shutdown. So whenever we say shut down the port, it's going to simply put the port into error disable state. And this is the default violation rule whenever we implement a port security. Now in some cases, we don't want to put the port into error disable state. We don't want the port into shutdown state. We can also use an option called restrict or protect. Now the difference between these ports is, now in case of protect mode, let's say if I'm defining the maximum MAC addresses of 3, so whenever it learns the 4th MAC address, that's for violation rule, it is not going to put the port into error disable state. So the port will be up, but it is going to ignore the MAC addresses which are on beyond that limit, which means it is not going to update the MAC table, and it's just going to ignore those MAC addresses, and the new 4th MAC address from there onwards, they will not be able to communicate with the LAN resources. But the remaining 3 valid MAC addresses, whatever we have defined, the initially learned, these will be still able to access the resources. So, but when a new MAC address is learned, the fourth MAC address, they will not be able to access the resources in the LAN. So, which means if a user is sending a traffic with the valid MAC addresses, the three, whatever the three MAC addresses which are learned, they will be able to access the resources. But still, the fourth MAC address or the fifth MAC address, whatever learned other than those three, will not be able to access the resources. Now, in case of restrict, it's more like a protect, the same thing. But the one thing extra it will do is it will generate a log message, and based on that log message, if you have some external log servers, it's going to send some log information to the external servers. It's going to inform syslog server, or it is going to send a console message. If you have a default console login, it's going to show you the log message that this violation has been done. It's going to generate that log message on the switch, but whereas the protect is not going to do any log information. So this is a major difference between protect and restrict. In case of shutdown, it will simply put the port into error disable state, but in case of protect and the restrict mode, it is not going to do that. It's going to make the interface still up, the valid MAC addresses still be able to access the resources, but the major difference is in case of protect, there is no logging done, but whereas in the restrict mode, it's going to generate some log messages on the switch. So that's the only difference between these two options. Now, depending upon the requirement, either we can go with any one of these options, but if you don't define this violation rule, the default rule will be a shutdown state.